What up? How we doing? Welcome, dudes. What up, Michael? T-Wix, Placidon, Moisture, Fish, what up? Neo? Oh, Neo can't watch. It's all good, dude. Daniel was first. Let's go. Henrik, Placidon, my big homies. Julia, a year in a row? Wow. Thank you. Love you. Real instrument stream? Yeah, dude. This is something that I've needed to do for a while. I haven't done this in a while. This stream is for all of my beginner homies, man. I feel like we have a lot of new homies that are wanting to get into it. And so, you know, let's help them out. And so if you're new, or if you've been thinking about wanting to do this stuff, to write some metal, because you can, you really can, then this stream is for you, dude. This stream is for sure for you. Yo, man, I wish I knew what that said. Yo, we got a hype train. Jenny. Oh, dude, Hendrik gifted a sub to Jenny. Let's go. Can you imagine a year with 1 collab and 0 of my own submissions? Oh, you know, it's fine. It's fine. Mamara, what up? Moisture. If anyone knows, is this Russian? Let me know what it says. Give a second for few more homies to get in here. How's the YouTube looking? Is it good? Are we Gucci? Let's see. Yeah. YouTube homies are already here. Thanks for being here, YouTube homies. I feel like I've been seeing you guys a lot sooner than the Twitch homies. Twitch homies, what's going on? Maybe they get the notification late or something, you know? Yo, Dread. Are you saying that I'm early or you're early? Let's freaking go. Who is real? What IRL guitar do you recommend? There's so many questions that need to be asked before you get to a final answer on that. You know what I mean? Like what style of music, what tuning, you know? But this is all about MIDI guitar, MIDI drums, MIDI bass, all those things. Yo, Chris, that new Dayseeker song sounded like you produced it. Really? What's the song called? I haven't jammed it, dude. I need to jam it. Hey, Henrik, yes. Let that be your motivation, dude. Yo, Muma, what up? Mummy Monkey, there it is. I just pay for Suno now. Bloodlust. Okay. Okay. Let me put it in there so I don't forget. Okay. I added it. I'll check it out, dude. I can't believe I see the empty project. Yeah, so thank you for mentioning that. It's a perfect segue. So this stream is really for like the people who are just getting into it. You know, maybe they just got Ableton Live and or you know they're thinking about getting Ableton Live and because they want to start producing stuff because maybe they've seen my reels or something like that. Well, I had a few new homies in my one-on-one, and I would give them my old beginner tutorial, and that was in like Ableton Live 11, this and that. And so This may be a two-parter, so like we might do like a day 1 today and then like a day 2 on Thursday, depending on how this one goes. But I want this to be where you can go if you are looking to get started. Now there's some things that you're going to need if you want to get started making MIDI metal or MIDI rock or anything like that. Dread, you know what? Honestly, this is going to work for really any DAW, you know? So if you're more comfortable in a different DAW, then, you know, use the DAW. Use that one. I just prefer this one. I'm just really fast with it. I've used it for a long time. But the things that you're going to need is you're going to need MIDI drums. You're going to need a MIDI guitar. And depending on the MIDI guitar that you get, you're not always going to get like an amp sound, like a distorted sound. And so I recommend you get some sort of amp sound. Now, Neural DSP has some great stuff. Mixwave has, there's tons of stuff out there. And so thing with those two is like you really can't go wrong with any of them. Now, the one that I have been using the most right now, kind of living with, is the Neural DSP's Archetype Misha. I really have been loving that one because of the features that it has and how quickly it is to get to like blend into your mix, like with your drums and your bass and stuff. Actually, the next thing is a bass. I always recommend people check out Submission Audio because they have some great basses that do have some bass tones. I always recommend that you get some sort of bass amp. If you go with like, I mean, there's so many different things. But my personal favorite is Parallax from Neural DSP. And so definitely take a look at that one. If it's on sale, grab it. There's also, you know, within Submission Audio, you have things like Architect Bass, like Dread said, Gin Bass. There's so many basses, and again, you can't really go wrong. But if you're sick of the tones that you're getting from the Submission Audio stuff over time, then you can always, like I said, you can go with like Parallax or whatever. Now, the specific drums I'm going to be using today are the Progressive Prodigy drum kit. It's Simon Sana's signature drum library. It's from RS Drums, and that is a contact instrument. Now, contact instrument is where the drums are being housed. And so you can't just type in, you know, Progressive Prodigy and chuck it in there. You have to download what is called Contact. And Contact will house usually your bass amp and your drums, depending on the drums that you get. And so Contact is from Native Instruments, so what you'll need to do is you'll need to go to Native Instruments website and download Native Access. Contact Player is free. If you want enhanced features, then you will want to get the full version of Contact, which you don't have to. But depending on the bass that you get or anything like that, you may need to get the full version of Contact. And so, you know, keep that in mind. But, oh, of course, the guitar, the MIDI guitar. There's so many MIDI guitars. And that really comes down to what it is that you're trying to do. So now, if you have Native Instruments Complete, one, you're going to get Contact and that too, or the full version of Contact, but you're also going to get some guitars. Now, none of them are going to be sort of like metal focused, and so just keep that in mind. Native Instruments does have a metal focused guitar, but it doesn't come with Complete. That's a separate purchase. The guitars that I have been reaching for the most are Apex from Keep Forest and AXURE from Study Sound Audio. Now, if you don't have a guitar yet, you can definitely look at those. Now, there's also Odin 3. Odin 3 is really great. Odin 2 is really great. Now, if you wanted, I have discount codes for Apex by Keep Forest. That's just Chris Badan 10. And then AXURE from Study Sound Audio, that one's going to be Badan 24. And so if you're wanting to save some money, you could do that. In terms of drums, I have a discount code for the drums. And so RS drums, if you want to get like the Monarch kit or the Progressive Prodigy, that one's also going to be Badan 24. And all that stuff is in the description. And so take a look at that. So after you download all the things, and let's say you just get Ableton, what you're going to need to do is you're going to want to go to up here to Options. I know it's hard to see. Let me see if I can zoom in. Options. And then you'll go down to Settings. And it's going to bring up this thing. You're going to want to go to Plugins. And you're going to want to make sure that, you know, this stuff is Use VST plugin and system folder. This may be different if you have a Mac computer. And so keep that in mind. But if you have this checked, it may do a scan of your plugins. And then you'll see something down here. Give it a second. It's going, it's going, it's going. You'll see something down here saying, oh, we're scanning all your plugins. And we saw a whole bunch of stuff. Well, that stuff is going to be housed over here on your plugins. So these are all the plugins that I have. I always recommend to just search for what it is that you're trying to use. So if you go up here, you're going to see all these, like under library, you're going to see all this stuff. I usually use all. And when you click all, you'll be able to come up here to your search, which I know it's behind the camera, but you can just search. Like for example, we can just hit Contact. Let's add our drums. So you can say I have Contact 8. And there's multiple ways to get this in here. I would say the most streamlined, so you know it's not going to affect anything, is clicking and dragging into there. See, it's loading, it's loading, it's loading. And now we have this. And all of the plugins, see how these, if I could click on these, they highlight. Well, this is where your plugin settings and stuff like that is going to show up. And so you can see down here, if I click here, there's nothing on this MIDI one, and there's nothing on this audio one. Now usually you're going to, when you start up Ableton, you're going to have an audio and a MIDI. You don't really need those, it's up to you. But here we have our drums. So let's do this, and let's make sure we're highlighted. We're going to do Control R, and we're just going to rename this drums. Now you can color this anything that you want. I usually make my drums blue. And so now we have drums. Now there's other possibilities to like route this out and all of that. But let's not worry about that. Let's just get you started. Let's just get you like putting MIDI in there and trying to make some riffs. That's all we're worried about today. This is the setup process, and maybe we can get a riff in there. Yo, Ray, what up? What's up, dude? Ned, thank you so much for the sub, bro. 5 months in a row. MIDI drums any good? Dude, MIDI drums are so good. They're so good. Superior Drum Engine Bass. With a K, Contact, right? Yep, Contact with a K. Let me just see here. I've been using Misa with my amp. Oh, dude, I know, Henrik, it's so good, dude. Ruben, what up? How we do? All right, just keeping up with chat here. Don't have time to hang, but I'll check this out later. Just want to drop by real quick. Dead Tired, thank you so much for being here, bro. Appreciate you saying what up. Afternoon, just wanted to stop by and say hi from Dusty's community. Ray, I see you in there, man. Thank you for stopping by, dude. Appreciate you a ton. Okay, let's get back to it. So now we have drums, but here's the thing is, remember I said that Contact houses our drums? Well, we have to choose our drums. Boop. Down here, we're going to click this little wrench here. This is going to open up the plugin, whatever plugin it is. So you can see here, if I click this, you see how it changes the color, and then something pops up here. Now there's a few things that you can do inside of here. You can collapse this if you double click. You can turn off and on. This is the bypass. And so just so you know, there's also some other things you can do within this, but we won't worry about that. Well, you won't worry about that right now. Right now, I just want you to click this wrench, and then we're presented with Contact. So Contact, like I said, it houses a whole bunch of different stuff, not just drums, synthesizers and all of that. And so if you have Complete, you're going to get a whole bunch of stuff that you'll want to download and all that. Now I have multiple drums and I have multiple synths, but right now let's choose our drums. And it is going to be this one. Now, there's different ways that you can go about like choosing this. You can click here and then you can choose a preset that you like. Or you can just click on here and then, you know, choose your preset within there. And I can show you that way as well. So I am going to use my Swarm Hill preset. However, I made a 2.0 preset. This is a preset that I made that ships with the Progressive Prodigy. But if you join my Patreon, I made it like a 2.0 where I kind of like tweaked it a little bit more. And that's going to be available. It also has the MIDI labels and the routing. And if you're not sure what that is, I'll explain it here in a second. Also, Ruben, I got to get you added to the mod. Okay, so before I see you guys in chat, give me a second. So what I'm going to do for now, I'm not going to choose a preset. I'm just going to click here. You see this little guy here? See, it says load first preset. So you got to give it a second. It's going to do its thing. I've been in Ableton for a minute, and I feel like there's always some small detail I've missed. Yeah, Trapples, thank you, man. I'm the same way. I'll watch someone, and I'm like, I didn't know you could do that. Like, for me, it was Mr. Bill. I learned so much from him. Yo, Sky C. Hey, Chris, I'm unsure which MIDI drums to buy. Can't decide between the Monarch kit, the home drums, I'm assuming. Or the Mixed Wave Sleep Token one. Now, the Monarch kit is kind of like, it can cover a broad range of different styles of music because it comes with multiple drums, types of drums, different snares and all that stuff. The Sleep Token kit is a very pointed kit. That is Two's kit. That is Two's drum sound. And so just know that that's what you're going to get, because I think you can only change the snares. And I think there's a few cymbals. And so, again, like if you get something like the Progressive Prodigy, for example, you're going to get a whole bunch of other things. You're going to get a whole bunch of different snares. You're going to get different kicks. You know, and then you have this craziness going on over here, multiple cymbals. And so, just so you know. Literally, the next time I watched the stream, I learned something. Daniel, my guy. It can wait after stream. Got you, Ruben. Sorlak, what up, dude? Colin, my guy. A freaking dude. Okay. So, we got our drums in there. Let me stop this now. We have our drums in there, and so if you click on these drums, now we have drums. And if you really wanted to, you can get started right here, you know? What's so nice, though, is RS Drums has so many presets. So if you click on this little camera guy, and you go, see where it says Default 1? Well, you have Factory, and you have all these people made presets. And so if you know any of these people, maybe you have a favorite guy or whatever, you could just be like, oh yeah, Adam Bentley. Adam Bentley made one. Shout out Adam Bentley. My presets are up here somewhere. Oh, wait, where am I? Here. So this Let It In preset is more like a Loathe sounding preset. So if you like Loathe, you can start here. This is more like a Thornhill preset, like I said, Swarm Hill. And all you need to do is click on it, and then it'll load this preset. Now, these drums come like pre-mixed. And so I did some stuff within here. You're going to notice that this looks similar. See how this like track 1, track 2, track 3? Well, it's going to be the same in here as well. You see this thing? It's going to be lined up the same. Now, this is, don't look at this. This is different within Ableton. But you can see it has the volume slider. And I just did that, by the way, by clicking here and just changing this. I like a little bit of a longer fader here. And so, but you could see there's not much of a difference. We have our volume here and we have our volume here. And so what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to load my Swarm Hill 2.0 preset. And then I'm going to remove this side pane so it's a little bit cleaner. This looks a lot nicer. You can keep this keyboard here if you want to. This is really nice for your guitar and stuff, which I'll show you in a second. But now, this is a little bit more mixed, right? The other one, there was no mixing on it or anything like that. And so, I mean, we're ready with the drums. So let's move on to guitar. And guitar, we actually need another contact, depending on the guitar that you use. With Odin 3, you don't need it. And so I am going to do this. And then we're going to come down here to the wrench again. And it's going to open up another one. So I'm gonna open up Apex. Just hitting that thing's load first preset. And here is Apex. Now Apex is a little bit more feature rich, if you will. There's a lot of things that you can do within this plugin. There's so much. But if you just want to write some riffs, then honestly what you can do is you can come in here and try to find some sort of amp tone within here. If you click on, so you have presets that are up here. And also I did do like a masterclass with this. If you get Apex and you want to know some things, then there's gonna be a lot in there. It's like a 2-hour stream. But anyways, you have presets up here, but the presets are for the main. If you go over to Designer, which you can write riffs within here, we won't get there right now. This is going to be your presets for all your riffs. If you go to Change, where this is where you have like your guitar amp and stuff like that, and your different effects. This is going to be for the Chains presets. And then this last one you have settings. And so right now, technically, we do have a guitar tone. And I just did that by clicking this. You can see that these are kind of color coded. So you have your blue notes, your pink notes, and then you have the reds and greens. And then these over here. These red ones here are going to be key switches. So for example, if you play guitar, if you know guitar, you know, you have palm muting, you have open notes, you have different things you can do, different sort of guitar techniques. Well, this is where you would change it here. And I'll show you that here in a second. And so these blue notes here are the playable notes. And so again, you can hear there's like a guitar tone going on. And if you wanted to dive deeper into that, all you would need to do is go to Chains here. And then you would come up here to the presets. And then you would find something, you know, overdrive, high gain, overdrive, and then you can kind of click through these. It's going to ask you what change you want to load, and we're just going to do all. And so now we have a different tone. And so if you get Apex, you get some tones. What I usually recommend is going to main here and checking out the presets here, because usually there's some really cool sounding tones. I like that one a lot. Yo, Opting, what up? Julia, I feel like that emote, for some reason, looks like Stamp Vertex. Is the content for the sets/plugins downloaded and saved local? Yes, it is. It's going to be on your computer. So some of the drum programs and guitar programs are going to be kind of heavy, and so just keep that in mind as well. You know, they can get like Monarch Kit is 40 gigs, but there's a ton of samples. You know, because those drums, they're sample drums. sampled guitar, sampled bass. And so it's not AI or whatever. Someone played these notes, but they're just single notes and they're multi-sampled. And so they don't sound the same. Okay. So let's say, you know, we found the riffs here. You hear how it sounds like a palm mute? Well, over here on the left, you have some key switches that you can mess around with. So if you click this one, you have palm mute short, you have soft sustain. And then if you scroll down here, you have medium sustain, hard sustain. Okay. Thick. Ah, that's why. So this one, this particular tone has an octave, the octave setting turned on. And so that is this. In the settings, you can turn this down. And so if I hit the blue note again, and so you can use this tone within Apex. And there's so much customizability in making this tone your own. And again, if you want to know more about Apex, if you just got it, then definitely go to Keep Forest's YouTube channel. And on the live tab, you'll see that I did a 2-hour live stream for them. Just chilling, stuck with my stuff because of how out of style. Oh, my usual style is. That's all right, dude. Write what you like, bro. You know. Here's the thing: is because we're so, you can reach so many people. Someone is going to like that same style too. There's going to be people, right? It may not be like, you know, the most popular whatever, but think about this, right? Like MIDI metal. There's people love it, and I didn't think that people were going to be like, "Oh, this guy, he's cheating, blah blah blah," which I don't care. I don't care. What's your favorite tuning and why is it F sharp? Honestly, my favorite tuning is like G sharp, D sharp, F sharp. I really like those. And my guitar, my 6-string, is tuned to B, and I freaking love it. And so, you know. Anyways, now let's say that you have, like you're a guitar player and you're already like, well, I already have like the neural DSP stuff. I don't want to use the stuff that Apex has. Well, it's as easy as coming in here, turning off the chains, and then adding your amp here. And that's as easy as coming up here to this search, right? We have to make sure that we're in all. See here, all. And then I'm just going to type, and I know you can't see it, I'm sorry. We're just going to type in Misha, and you're going to see that's going to pop up. Boop. And so now what we need to do, first we need to come up here and do Control R, and we're going to say RHY GTAR. It's going to be our rhythm guitar. And then I'm going to change this to purple. Then I'm going to click and drag Misha onto this one. Now you can have multiple different plugins depending on the plugin type down here. And so you can see first is our guitar, second is our guitar amp. And this is going to be the signal flow here. And so this is always going to be the last thing. And so now, if we click on this wrench, now we have Misha. This is our Misha amp. And so this is going from Apex into Misha. And so now, if I hit these blue notes, what we're going to be hearing is Misha. But there's a problem. And you'll be able to hear it. You ready? It's right there in the center, dude. Now, that's an easy fix. With neural DSP stuff, you have the option to go stereo or mono. If you go stereo, and then we click the blue note again, Cool thing about Apex and these other guitar plugins is they are double tracked, sometimes quad tracked, depending on the guitar that you get. But that means that there's 2 different guitar samples on each side, so you can get that stereo width. And usually when you record guitar, you're going to record 1 track on this side and 1 track on this side. You're going to have a left and a right. And again, you might have 2 left, 2 right. You might have 5 left, 5 right. Don't worry about that though. All we need right now is 1 left and 1 right. Now, Apex, like I said, they did it for you. That's why it sounds big and wide. Because if not, if we went back to mono, and then you have your drums going, well, everything's just going to be over there. Your drums are going to sound sick and wide, and then your guitar is going to be here. You're like, why does my mix sound weird? That could be one of the reasons. And so we're just going to flip that stereo back on. Now we have a stereo guitar. We got a guitar amp. And, you know, we can EQ that, all that, but don't worry about that right now. Next thing we need is a bass. Now, today I'm going to use, let's use Nolly bass. And so, what do we have to do? Think about it for a sec. I'm not going to do it. Think about it. What do we have to do? I'm all about stereo. I have no idea about Yes, please. Yo, Seb, what's up, dude? Thank you for the 14 months. Yo, what's up, Anthony? He says the GOAT. Pfft, not me, dude. I'm just a guy that you know, makes music. I appreciate you being here, though, dude. Dude, B is the way. I stay in B or F sharp. Oh, dude, B is sick. And I think I'm a little biased because, like, that's kind of like a Sacto thing, I think. Like A and B. Sounds so cool. Okay. Did you get it? Did you already beat me there? All right, let me do mine. So I'm going to type in contact. And I'm going to grab contact 8. And then we're going to slide it over to a blank area. You can see it says here, track files and devices here. Well, now it shows up here. We're going to click it. Control R. Hotkeys, hotkeys, hotkeys. Please use hotkeys, dude. Like, you're probably a clicker and you click everywhere, but try to get used to doing hotkeys. And I'm going to try my best to let you know when I'm using a hotkey and what it's doing, blah, blah, blah. And so make sure that you remember this stuff because it's going to make you so much faster and more efficient. And you're going to think less about the DAW. Like, oh, I got to right click and I got to do this. Hotkeys. The most important hotkey, though, you ready? Let's label this. I'm getting ahead of myself. Bass. Right click. It's like, let's make this that color. Okay, first hotkey, you ready? First official hotkey. Control S, dude. Ned already knows, dude. There it is. Control S. Okay, so I have my stuff kind of, I try to be as organized as I can. So I have a September folder, which we're still in September. And I'm going to label this Ableton for Beginners 2025. Okay, now we feel good. Anytime you do something, not anytime, not every time, but when you remember, which should be often, you'll learn the hard way. Control S, man. Control S. Control. Oh, you can't see it. I changed my camera view. Control S. That's your life. It's awesome. Anyways, so we learned Control R and we learned Control S so far. Okay, now we need to go into this contact. Now, if yours looks like this and it has 2 and you're like, I just put a contact in there. Well, chances are you just highlighted the wrong one. So you have to come up here, highlight. Boop. Oh, Henrik, I like that you said that, dude. Henrik brings up a very good point. It's a very good idea to put the key of the song, if you already know. If not, you can worry about that later. But try to put the BPM. You can put the date, or whatever name that you'll remember. But it's always good to put the key of the song and the BPM, because if you send this to someone else and they're like, what's the key? Then you got to open up the Ableton. And if you got a large session and it's going to take forever to load, just put it in there and you send it to them. And if they ask, be like, bro, did you even look at the title, bro? And so, you know, I'm only saying that from experience. Usually once I have, yeah, yes. Yes, please. What did Ray say? Listen, Chris, no offense, but I paid shit ton for my Cubase, and I'm low key feeling like I'm about to be converted to. I mean, you know, again, do what's comfortable to you. I really like Cubase. Cubase is sick, man. I want to live in it more now that I have it. All right, so I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to try to find Nolly Bass. I probably already skipped it. I did not. Here's Nolly Bass here. And we're going to go load first preset. We're going to zoom out. Okay. Now we have a bass guitar. I don't think you can click on this one. No, but we can click on the blue notes. Julia says, but don't call it demo 1234, as you will never remember. I know. Like, and okay, one thing that I need you to not do is like save as shit song. Like, don't call it shit song, please, okay? Because it's not. And if you're first starting, it's not going to be good. But just know it's going to be your first song, okay? You have to push through the suck. All your songs are going to suck in the beginning, but that is completely normal, and that is okay. And you need to understand that that is just the part of starting. But I'm hoping that by showing you this setup, and then you come into my streams and you see how I do it, it could give you a little bit of a power level, right? If you play well, I'm just going to run you through Scarlet Monastery a few times till you get 40. Then we can get your mount. You can see I'm from vanilla. Wow. Anyway. Isn't Nolly Bass like super slim when it comes to articulations and whatnot? Yeah. Yeah. Puck, for sure. Thank you for mentioning that. I prefer the tone of Nolly Bass. However, again, since you mentioned it, like a guitar, a bass also has a lot of articulations. Now, Puck is right, and this one doesn't have a ton of articulations. I don't find myself using a ton of articulations, only like palm mutes and stuff, which Nolly Bass technically has. And so if you don't want to worry about articulations, you know, you can get this, but Puck, there is, like the submission audio stuff has a lot of articulations. But I don't want you to worry about that too much right now. Okay, so we have a bass sound. And the cool thing about Nolly Bass is it does have a clean, a DI. DI is basically just, is if I was to plug my guitar into my interface and then play, that's what you would hear. So that's what it sounds like. It also has a clean tone. And then a heavy tone. And you can see the bass color changes. And then you have some settings here. You can turn up the sub, maybe bring the tone down a little bit. I like a little bit of sub in mine. Groove S. And you have hit song. Hey, Cam. I like that, dude. Yes, please. Gotta eat your musical creation broccoli. I love that fish. I think literally every one of us has named one song. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I think one time I did a Control S and I made this song already or something like that. Okay, I'm gonna do the side pane again. And so right now we have drums, we have rhythm guitar, and we have bass. And I would say for now, let's just worry about that. Now that we have drums, guitar, and bass, what I want you to do from here is I want you to hit tab on your keyboard. When you hit tab on your keyboard, this is going to be what Ableton calls our arrangement view. This is our clip view. And the reason why they call it that, I'll just explain it for a second, is that you can add MIDI clips within here, build out your song or your riffs within here, and then bring them into the arrangement view. So for example, I could come in here and start building out, you know, the stuff here. If I hit play, I guess we're making funk today. Anyways, this is what the clip view is. That's why I was saying, like, it doesn't, you can't add like the plugins here like the other DAWs. And so just keep that in mind. This is a little bit different. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to hit tab, and we have our arrangement view. Now this may look a lot more familiar to some of you who are in different DAWs. So if I hit these little arrows, I need to expand these so we can see them better. But you can see that we have these here. And then we have some free space to kind of like make some stuff. Now, what we can do is, let's make our first MIDI clip. So to create a MIDI clip, I'm just going to highlight the amount that I want. Now, music is usually, which I could be preaching to the choir, but I don't know the levels here. You know, you can do 4 bars, or you can do 8 bars, 16 bars, 32 bars, right? If you start with 2 bars of 4, what you'll need to do is you need to go, like, for example, see how it says 5 up there? That's going to be 4 bars, because you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me make this a little bit bigger. And then I'll do this so it's not as crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Now I want a bar of 8. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to click and drag. And now we have, and now it says 9, but this is 8 bars, right? You can see it here. What are they revising on 9? Now that we have it highlighted, we're going to do Control-Shift-M for MIDI. Control-Shift-MIDI. That's going to make us a new MIDI clip. And we can do that for all of these, for example. Control-Shift-M, Control-Shift-M. And since we did our initial homework, or should I say like the initial work, it's all in the correct colors, which is nice. And you'll notice when I click on this one, this guy appears. This is where you're going to place your MIDI. Now, if we started playing it right now, well, you can't, you see, it's like, oh, I can't hear anything. Why can't I? I'm on the drums. How come it's like, well, you have to choose this middle MIDI preview button. Oh, let me just mention something else. If you're new in Ableton, down here at the corner, there's this little eye. I recommend leaving this little eye up. So this is like a helper or an info view, they call it. And what's nice is, anytime that you click on something, it's going to tell you what it is. And so that's very nice. And so you can see, if I hover over this guy, use the toggle to activate note previewing. This lets you hear the sound of the corresponding pitch/drum pad when you add or move notes in the MIDI note editor. So if I click this, it's going to turn blue. And now we got to find the drums where they are. There they are. Now here's the thing too, is like, you're going to notice, I have to do this, sorry, 1 second. There we go. I can see them, but it's like, what? I don't know what it is. I don't know which one's which, right? Well, I have taken the time to make MIDI labels, and that's something that you can do within Ableton Live. And that requires what you would call a MIDI effect rack. Now, I have a tutorial on how to do that if you want to look into doing that yourself. However, I made some labels for the Progressive Prodigy. That's going to be on my Patreon. So if I just do prod up here, I'm just in the all thing like we were up above here. We're going to go, I'm going to grab this prod here. Make sure that we're on our drums. Now I want to double click on here. if I double click on here, it's going to take us out of the MIDI lane. And it's going to bring us back to like the plugin. And so I'm going to grab this prod, and I'm just going to click and drag it and put it here. Now with this, you have to put it before. And it's telling you here, insert MIDI effects before instruments. And so now we have MIDI labels. One thing that you have to do, I think it's a bug within Ableton, you have to uncheck show MIDI names and then check it again. And so now, if we double click, go back in this window, you can see we're all labeled out, and it's going to make your life so much easier. So now we know this is a kick. Yes. Yo, Mom, what's up? She's hanging out. Love you, Mom. Julia. Chris, how about using contact on the group open instruments in a kind of chain there and then route them? You could. I haven't done that, but I'll have to give that a shot one day. I haven't really tested that theory to see if it'll like be better in terms of CPU efficiency. It could be interesting for outputs and routing, but maybe not too crazy. But that's a good idea. Let's see. Ableton's dope workflow wise. Better than any other DAW. No but complicated. Just like every other DAW. Yeah. Yeah, King. Yes. I'll take moments I wish Chris Baden used Reaper for 500. Or you could endlessly cross-reference the plugin or the manual. That's true. Yeah, outputs forget the correct word. No, it's okay. I knew what you meant. That's a good idea. Yo, Lee! I see you up there. What's up, homie? Thanks for being here. Okay. Just wanted to see what was going on with chat. Love you guys. Okay. So, now we have drums. Oh, you see what I did there? I didn't mean to do that, but if you double click, you're going to add MIDI to your MIDI lane, right? And so now you can see up here, see those two little notes? Well, those are those two little notes that we added down here. There's two ways that you can add MIDI. You can double click to delete, or if you hit the B for pencil tool, it's going to be the pencil tool. Pencil tool, though. Ableton calls it the pencil tool because they thought it was a good idea to make the pencil tool a B. So now it's the pencil tool. Shout out Mr. Bill. And this one you just click to add. And so if you're like used to FL Studio, you could do that. And then you could bring it back here. Box select. I call this box selecting. And then you can just hit delete on your keyboard and it gets rid of it. Now, you can change this grid size. There's multiple ways to do that. Let me, okay. There we go. Oh, I have to do it again. Sorry. It's the shortcut on for my Zoom. So let's change this grid size. You can come in here, right click, and you can change this. So you have an adaptive grid. And this will change depending on the zoom that you're in. So you can see as I zoom in, if I'm on like narrow, you can see this grid continues to change. So if I zoom out, it gets wider and wider and wider. But if I zoom in, it adds those little points as I'm zooming in. You see that? So you can get pretty granular here. Or you can right click and you have your different fixed grids. So if you want 16th notes, you can choose that. And so pencil tools are related to FL's Control B to duplicate. Is that really what it is? What does P actually do in Ableton? I don't know. It doesn't do anything. Of course. Anyways. Okay, so there's another way that you can change your grid, which I tend to use quite a bit. And that is Control 1 and 2 on your keyboard. So 1 is going to zoom. It's going to make your the grid like tighter. and then this one's going to be more open. Sometimes it likes to not work on me. There it is. This is Control 2 and then Control 1. And I'm just holding Control with my pinky and then just doing 1 and 2. I like to use this a lot because, and we'll get here, if I'm like writing guitars or like a kick pattern, what I can do is I can like do this, and let's say that I have something that's like this long where it's like, oh, I want that to be all double kicks. Well, I'll change it to the grid size that I want. For example, like this, and I'll go Control E, and it chops it according to the grid that you're on. So for example, blast beats or something like that, you could do that. Again, it's just depending on the grid. So you can even do this, which is really nice. It's really fun if you want to experiment like on your guitar, if you want to do like a tremolo thing, well, you could just do that. And so that's really nice. Adding the MIDI. You can see that when I added this MIDI, there's like a little like light blue, little like outline. So when I click on this one, you can see it's gone here, it's over here. This means that I'm selected on that MIDI. Now what's nice in Ableton is, and I think this is in some DAWs, I wish it was in all, but you can click and you highlight on this and you can move this. And I'm just using my arrow keys on my keyboard, which is nice. Now, if you hold Shift and you go to your right arrow, you're going to change the length. And you can go left to go back. Now, you can see when I hit the up arrow, this is going to go an octave up. And so, like, for example, if you're on, like, C1, well, if you do Shift up arrow, you're going to be at C2. So you're going to be... Da, da, and so... Or... Da, da, there it is, octave. And this doesn't matter too much in drums, but it does like in guitars, and I'll show you that here in a second. And so let's just do like a quick beat. I'm just going to do something real quick. Let's do something simple. So what I want to do is I want to hear the timing that we're in. Because right now we're in 120 BPM, which is up here. And I know you probably can't see that, but I definitely want you to see that. So... let me just turn that off for a second so you can see it. You see that there? This is where you can change your BPM. And see, I accidentally, like, if you use your mouse, you can click and drag and change your BPM there. I'm actually going to get rid of that background too. 1 second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on here and I'm going to go back to 120. And I just typed that on my keyboard. I'm going to hit enter. Now we're back at 120. So let's bring chat back. Saw chat. Saw. Oh, wrong chat. Where's caster chat? There it is. No, that's caster subs. Caster chat. Boop. YouTube chat. Get rid of that. I just screwed it up. Look at me. And then I need color source. There we go. Can you upload this live to your video? Yes, it's actually right now. It's live right now, and it's gonna stay there. And so very good. Okay. Let's make sure that we're good here. And oh shoot. Oh yeah, actually you can see it. This is going to be my metronome, and the metronome is just what helps you keep time. Dun 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 dun. You could hear it. You also heard my kick drum that I added. So there's, you hear the click track? That is going to 120 BPM. Dun, 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 dun. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just make a quick drum groove. Just by doing those things that I said. Double clicking to add. Just like this. But I want something to be like dun dun ga dun dun ga dun dun ga dun dun ga, And you can see I play drums, and so that's why you can see me. I always recommend people get like a drum pad and sticks, so then you understand like that whole thing. Anyways, let's make a quick beat, and you'll see I'm just going to be adding kicks and snares. Do cat. Yep. Okay. We already are. There's already something I want you to know. So this is where you change the velocity. Now, remember how I told you that these are velocity and multi-sampled? Well, you're going to be able to hear. Very nice. Now with the RS drums, if you're really trying to get a good hit, boom! Well, your hardest hit is going to be 127. It's not going to be a too hard hit. It's going to be the preferred hardest hit. But I'm going to add this to snare rim shot. So you have snare rim shot, you have snare center. Snare center I use for ghost notes. And you can hear that one's got a nice crack. Crack! Same with kick. Does the Ableton metronome let you do compound rhythms for the metronome and weird signatures? Yes. I think that's more of like a little bit of an intermediate sort of thing, which I may have to like deal with that in like another tutorial. Let's keep it simple for the new homies. Shout out to you. Okay. Let's just start adding stuff. Okay, here's another one. You see how this is? I want this to be 127 because I don't want to deal with it. I just want it to start at 127. Well, there's a few ways to have your default, when you click something in, be the number that you want. If you double click and hold, see how it brings up that number? Well, you can drag up, and now it's 127. So now, they're all going to be 127, which is nice. Another way is if you hold Alt, see how it brings up the velocity there? Well, that is going to also make that your default as well. Okay, so we're going to have to think about this in a different way. We got to go to 16th notes. And then we're going to zoom in a little bit. Let me see if I can stay here so you can see what I'm doing. These ones I want to change the length of. Now, that was a quick thing that I just did. So you can select by doing the whole box select, and that's going to select everything. Another way to do it is Control A. Control A is sort of like a default select all in really any program, unless they're trying to be different, which they're just hurting us. What parts of the kit do you normally keep at 127? Kick, snare, sometimes toms, depending on what's going on, and sometimes cymbals, depending on the cymbals. But again, it depends on the part. If it's like a nice verse, you're going to kind of keep it light. Maybe your kicks won't be at 127. It'll be at like 120 or 115 or something, you know? But it depends on the drum kit. Like GGD, P5, 120 is my preferred snare hit. That's what I like about RS drums is like, if you want the nicest hard hit, 127. You don't have to think about it. I don't want to think. I just want to write, you know? I have a question. Do you have all your VSTs on your computer, or do you keep them on an external hard drive? I have them on an external hard drive, but it's an internal hard drive. So I have an NVMe drive. It's a 2 terabyte NVMe drive. That's where I put all my plugins. Floor time 127 is basically an 808. I don't know about that, Pac. Again, it depends. It depends on the drums. Let's see. Does the Ableton metronome? Oh, we already got that. I have so many VSTs that my CPU tends to run high if I have too many things running. Yeah, it is good to print out if you are running into issues. But it's good to try and be efficient too with like, if your CPU is going crazy, chances are you have too much processing going on, dude. You got chill, you know? Okay, so I just selected all, like I said, and I want to change the size of these. Now you can come over here. You see how this icon changes? This is how you change the length of MIDI notes. But there's another way to do this if you want to change them all. If you go up to, if you go up to here, you have a set length to grid. And so you can see, I want them to all be this size, right? Just the size of this one square here. So if I hit set length, well, it's going to change all of them. And so if you have some drums and they're all kind of crazy, if you do a set length, so that's going to be nice. So let's make that beat again. Boom, booga. Yep. Boom, booga, boom, boom, ga. Yes, please. And check buffer size as well. Hey, okay. This is going to be beginner to intermediate kind of, but if you really want to know more about buffer sizes and all that stuff, then I would say definitely look up a tutorial. But in the layman's terms, the higher the number buffer rate, the more the delay that you're going to feel. Like if you have like a keyboard, you're going to feel that delay. So the higher the number, but the less computer resources it uses. And so your computer's going to run better, but you're going to have a delay. The smaller the number, the less the delay, the more computer resources. And so if you have a pretty beefy computer, you can like keep it fairly low if you're like tracking guitars or vocals. But when you're mixing, turn it up, you know. Like right now, I think I'm at 512 or 256 or something. Normally, if I'm doing all MIDI stuff, I tend to go to 1024 and it runs good. But if I'm recording guitar, I'm at like 128 or 64. Or if I'm like recording drums, you know. And so, thanks, Henrik. Yo, Renzo, what up? I see some of my bros in here. Steven, what up, homie? Demon, interesting. You're interesting first. Thanks for the follow, dude. Thanks for being here. Okay. So let's make this beat. I'm already feeling like it's too fast, but we can change that. Doom, da ga doom, doom, ga doom, doom. Maybe it's that. Yep. Okay, so we already made this section here. Doom, da ga doom, doom, ga doom, doom, da ga doom, doom, ga. Well, I just want that to continue to happen. Now we can program it out, but let's save some time, you know? What you're going to notice is there's a little like darker line here. You see how these like light gray, kind of like a medium gray, and then you have this darker line. Well, this is your 1, 2, 3, 4 sort of thing, right? Let me zoom out. It looks a little different just because of we have 8 bars. But you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are our different bars, right? I want it to be pretty much the same throughout the whole thing. And so what we can do is we can grab this stuff and add it to the rest of these. Now, if we just did like a Control A, like I told you, what you can do is you can duplicate. However, there's a more efficient way to do this. So if I duplicate it, you can see it just put it right next to it. All I need to do is go, and now we're in there. But here's the thing is we're going to do that, and we're going to have to do that for every single one, which it's not really efficient. Inside of Ableton, you can select, and whatever you select, it's going to duplicate by that much. So for example, I want to skip this one here, and I want this to go with my selection. And so if I click here and I highlight all of this, well, look at this blue line. This blue line is showing you, okay, I'm going to copy everything that you did. So if I went over here, you see that? Now it's going to copy from here. So if I do a Control D, it's going to duplicate to here. See that? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here. And now it's going to be here. So if I do Control D, which is duplicate, now it's going to be in the correct spot. So now what I can do is I can just do this. And now Now everything is fitting, right? Let's start to add, let's do like a China or something here. So I'm going to do the China. Now the same thing applies. Let's actually start with the left and right first. So I'm going to go right crash, and then we're going to do like a left crash. So now I'm going to hit fold. So I'm going to wait to hit fold. I'll explain that in a second. There's so much to know, so much to learn. So it was like, boom. China. Oh, left and right. China. Wahoo Records. What's up, dude? Thanks for the follow. How about Tune Tracks Easy Drummer and Apple Metal? Dude, yes. Amir, use those. If that's what you have, use those for now. You know, you could always upgrade later. I always say that drums and guitars and stuff are kind of just like Pokemon cards. You know, you collect them all. Why not? Bleed, what up, dude? Mr. Sab. Okay. So, let's add China. I'm going to add the China because we have these here. He's going to go boom, ga, do, ga, boom, ga, right? So there's a little bit of a gap there, which is this much of this, oops, dang it, this amount of time, right? Do you see the selection? Also, someone said time selection versus object selection. I like that, Pac. So you have object selection, which selects this, and you have time selection. That's nice, Pac. Thank you for that. Okay, so I'm going to add a China here, and then I'm going to do the time selection, and you can see it highlights there, and when I hit Control D, it's going to put it in the correct spot. So I could just hit Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D. And so now, we have a drum beat. But you see how like my kick and stuff and snare are here, and I have to scroll up to see like where this is? I hate that. I hate that. Well, Ableton thought about that. And Cubase has this too, and I feel like a lot of Cubase people don't know about this. Anyways, they have a fold option. And what this fold means is anything that has a MIDI note on it, that's the only lane that's going to be shown. So I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to hit fold. Boop. And so now these are the things that have MIDI on them. China, crash R, crash L, rim shot, and kick. So now it's easier to see the groove. Hey, Ruben. Burn! See, I want another boom thing right here, right on this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, second bar, 2, 3, 4. Well, I want to add another left, right. We could put one there. So let's add another one here. I'm gonna do a crash L right there. Just double click, right? Sweet. Now you have your first drum groove. Now if you want to do a little quick fill, because I like to have like before the start of my next bar, because we have 2 bars here, right? 2 bars of 4. I'm gonna go da go da da, and then I'm gonna get rid of this one because you have to think it's gonna go da go da ga dum. Then I'm gonna get rid of I'm gonna leave this one here. So now listen to this. What's processor? You ask him my processor, King? Nice. Let's go. So now we put our first fill in there. Just for snares, right? We can do something here. I want to add 2 toms at the end of here. But I'm going to hit fold so I could see my toms again. So if I hit unfold, I can add Let's add the floor toms here. Boom, boom. So I'm just going to add them here. And then I'm going to fold again so it makes my life easier. And I could see it. So I'm going to delete them. You see how it still stays? Well, I'm going to come over here to the end. That go. Let's do like... And you see how I'm choosing where I want it to start? Well, in Ableton, if you click and you just hit the space bar, it's not going to do that. You have to hold Control and then hit space. And so just so you know, it's huge. Let's listen to that. What's your processor? I have an i9 14900K processor, Intel. Yeah, you know what? Let's do a double kick thing right here. So I'm going to add this, but I'm going to change my grid. Remember what was the shortcut? Remember? Control 1. Then I'm going to do a Control E. And so that's going to turn that into a double. Yeah. And we can worry about like making it real later. Oh, Pock, that's weird. Ready for the... Yeah. Now, I want this to loop. And in order for it to loop, we have to loop it up here. And so the easiest way that I like to loop is if I click here, because this is our loop section. See this? Then we have to come over here and choose this button. Now that's a lot of steps. The way that I like to do it is select the clip that you want to loop and then do Control L. See how it automatically does this? And then boop. And so now it's good, King. It took a little while to get it going because of heating. And so if you want to live in a loop for a little while, then, you know, do that. Click on whatever it is that you want to, like, for example, if you only wanted to loop here, select that, Control L. If you want to go back, boom, Control L. Makes life so much easier, dude. Okay, so now we have our drum groove. Let's put the kick on our bass. And I want to grab the kick MIDI from down here, and I want to put it on our bass. And it's literally as easy as, if you click here, it's going to select all of the MIDI in this lane. See that? Now you could come in here and you can kind of do the box select thing, but that takes too long. I'm just going to click this, and it selects everything. I'm going to do Control C. Then, remember, because this is our bass, if I click on here, now if this doesn't end up showing up, you can double click and it'll show up. Or you can come down here, click this guy. This is going to show your MIDI window. This is going to show your plugin window. So you can see, like, this is where my plugins and stuff are. And so I'm going to get rid of that for now, just by clicking down here. And here's our the MIDI window for our bass. Now what I want to do is I want to add those kicks that we just copied into here. Now, depending on where, these are going to paste depending on where you have this little line here. You see this line that I'm clicking on? Well, if I have the line here and I do Control V, well, it's going to put it there. That's not the beginning of our freaking thing. I'm going to click on the very beginning. And then Control V, now it's at the beginning. Now we're at C0, and you can hear we don't hear anything. That's because our bass doesn't go down to C0. So I'm going to go Shift up arrow, and then we just heard it. Did you hear that? Now if you didn't hear it, reminder, we have this thing. Now I like to keep this on a keyboard shortcut. And what's cool is some things in Ableton you can make custom keyboard shortcuts. And to do that, you just hit Control K for keyboard. They thought about that part. And you see how it starts to turn certain things a different color? Well, if you click on here, I could assign this to whatever key I want. And so for me, probably won't be able to see it. I like to have it right underneath my escape. I like to have it be that note there. So I already selected. Let me deselect. I have to select that. See how it's kind of highlighted? See how it highlights like that? Then I'm going to hit that note. I mean that key on my keyboard, and you can see that it showed it. Now that I have that on there, I'm going to hit Control K again to get out of the custom keyboard keys. And so now when I hit this guy here, right? If I hit this guy, watch what happens. Well, now that's, again, just trying to make my life easier, man. And so again, if you can't hear your bass, chances are that's off. So now let's listen. Now we have bass and drums. Bass sounds a little funny though, right? It's okay. We'll fix that. First thing that we want to do is we want to decide what key do we want to be in. Right now we're in C1. Let's go to like G sharp 0. I don't know. Why did I choose it? I don't know. Now, since you can see I'm still highlighting that one. Because if I didn't, and I undo the up arrows, you see it doesn't do anything. Like it's just cycling through my notes. Well, I need to click here. And so now, I want them to be long. I want to go da 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 da. Well, Ableton has a little keyboard, not a keyboard, but a shortcut for that, and it's called legato. So with all of these notes selected, hit legato. Now they're all connected. Now they all go until it sees the next note. So now oh, we're already slapping, dudes. However, we're going to talk about some balancing really quick, because right now, if you listen, and I want you to listen again, I'm not going to touch anything, we're just going to listen. Listen how loud the bass is compared to the kick drum. We usually want the kick drum, we want the kick drum, and we want the bass like a little below it. So listen again. It's like, it's too loud, bass is too loud. Well, we can come over here, we can click here, we can listen, and we can start going down. I like to use my arrow keys to go down because you go down by 1 dB. See that? 1 decibel. If you want to go down by 0.1 decibel, hold shift. This is the one thing that I grilled Daniel on. Anyways, we're gonna listen. I'm gonna hit play, and I'm gonna start turning down the bass until I can hear the drums kind of really like bloom out. Right? You're gonna hear it, just the bass nestle right into the overall sound of the song. Right? Too low. That's pretty good so far. Doesn't have to be solid yet because we don't have guitars in there. Once we get all three in there, then we'll be able to balance better. But I just wanted you to see that, like, I try to balance things in, because then it just makes balancing is the #1 thing in mixing, dude. #1. Make sure you're balanced. Make sure it sounds good. Now you're like, what? How do I know? Well, listen. You know, if this bass is too loud compared to the kick, you know, check out the relationships between all these other instruments. And this is an experience thing, and you'll get better over time. But this is me just kind of putting it into your ear now. So now we have kick and bass. I mean, kick and or drums and bass. Now I want to change some notes around. Let's do like da 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 da. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select that one. And then maybe we'll go, and I just did shift up arrow. Da 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 da. All right. Maybe we'll go da da. I don't know. Da da. It's telling you what it wants. Da da. Maybe we'll go. Just to trick them. I don't know. Maybe we'll go. Da, 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 da. And then blah, blah. Let's listen to that. Da, da, da. Yo, opting, of course, dude. This is long overdue. Last one was like 2023. Okay, now it's going to be the same thing pretty much, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these. Now what's nice is, since this goes all the way to the end, I can do a Control A and a Control D, and it's going to just work. Everything in mixing is all just level balancing. Chris, of course, exactly. And we're looped, remember, because we did Control L? Now, here's the sick thing. I'm a little biased, right? Now I can grab my guitar and like, okay, well, I got to learn this freaking bass part. Hold on, let me. Then I got to sit here. Or I can literally grab this clip up here, hold Control, and grab it, like kind of like the top of Windows, right? Like you have to grab, like at the top of Windows, you have to grab it from up here. It's the same thing in here. So you have to grab the top of your window here. If I hold Control and I grab this and slide it up, see how it highlights it like that and adds a little plus sign box thing? Well, this is going to duplicate that up. And so if I let go, now that's there. The color doesn't change. I wish it did, Ableton. But if we want to change that, well, we can. If we come over here to our rhythm guitar, right click, assign track color to clips. Boop. Now you see it just turned purple. Now this is, sometimes this works and it works. Not always though. Let's see what happens. I just put it in there. See how it didn't work? That could be for a few reasons. But first thing I'm going to try is I'm going to click and we're going to put everything an octave up. So we're going to go Control A, Shift, up arrow. There it is. Okay. You hear how loud that guitar is, dude? Let's balance it in real quick. Now, sometimes I'll like to go all the way down and then bring it up. I'll actually do that so you can see. So I'm going to turn this all the way down. I'm going to click and drag all the way down. I'm going to slide it up until I start to hear it. Then I'm going to go to my keyboard and start going up by dBs so I can fine tune it in. Okay, I'm listening for, okay, is my snare being overwhelmed? No. Can you still hear my bass? Does my bass feel like it's one with my guitar? Yeah? Okay. Watch what happens when I go too far. Drums sound quiet. Bass is still there. Let's go down. Hold shift. Okay. One thing that I'm noticing though is I think we're going to be on medium. We're on our medium sustain key switch. Now we can go into Apex. We click here, and then we go to our wrench down here. Oh, we are actually on hard sustain, which is nice. Okay, let's say we are on medium sustain. We can come in here and just go hard sustain. But we can program these switches to do it for us. So I'm going to close out of this, and I'm going to add my labels here. Also, my freaking dog's going crazy. I'm going to bring him in. Okay, let's do Apex labels. Here it is. So I made some MIDI labels for Apex. That's going to be in my Patreon as well. So if I click and drag this here, you're going to see shows up here. Show names. Oops. Again, I have a tutorial on how to do this if you don't want to join the Patreon. But it's already done for you if you go to the Patreon. And it's price of a cup of coffee. Anyways, now if I go in here, it's not only going to show my note names, but if I unfold and I come down here, well, now it's showing us some articulations and key switches and stuff. And these, think of these as like little triggers. So let's say that, you know, you're driving down a road and you see something that says, okay, change to first gear or second gear. And you're like, okay, well, it's going to change automatically. And then it's going to change to second gear. But it's waiting for that little switch. Well, that's what these are basically. So I want to start with hard sustain, boop. And then we don't really have palm mute stuff, but let's just do it. And now I want a palm mute. And now you can see I'm putting them here because I want to fold to still be able to see them, right? So let's go hard sustain, and then remember, this is telling us to switch gears. Let's do like so we're gonna make these triplets. So what we need to do is we need to select both of these, and you can see they're already ready to do 3. 1, 2, 3. I just need to chop them up, and that's just Control E. Then we go back to hard sustain here. So again, it's telling which gear it needs to be in. Palm mute to these ones, and then back to hard sustain. Yes, Pac, there is some guitar libraries that are latching. And so it'll stay on like a default hard sustain, for example. And then you can add these things, and it'll do the thing until it doesn't see it, and then it goes back to hard sustain, for example. This one is just a little bit more, you have to kind of do, it's more customizing. And so let's see if this works. Sick. Now, palm mutes, you can make them tighter because these are volume sensitive or velocity sensitive. So if I choose these and I come down here, this is where we change our velocity. And we bring those here, and then we do our click here, Control spacebar. Let's listen. Ripple, what up? SO, what up? My guy, Stefan. Maybe we do something like that here too, huh? So we'll grab these. Now, again, this depends on the grid that you're on, right? So just remember to keep that in mind. If I see the 3, let's do that. Boop. Maybe we'll do like dun 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 boom. I don't know. But we gotta make sure we put our P for palm mute, and then we go back to hard sustain. Okay, this is giving me an idea. I want this to be a harmonic. So I'm going to bring this back down. And then we're going to go shopping. I'm going to unfold here. We're going to grab the harmonic key switch. Boop. And then I'm going to get rid of it and bring it over here. And put it here. So let's see what that does. You can hear it did a thing. Let's leave these down here. This takes some experimenting. Let's do here. Then let's change the velocity. Let's bring it back up. It's an idea. Victor, we'll get there. This is for the very beginner, someone who they're trying to get started. I have quite a few of those people in my one-on-ones, and I would love to point them here to get them started. So then we can do like some samples and breakdowns and start adding some synths and all that, right? But, I mean, basically what we did is we set up drums, guitar, and bass. We balanced them in a little bit. We made a drum groove. We made a bass. We made some bass grooves, and we made some guitar grooves with our kick pattern. I'm going to turn the bass down. Now, if you feel like, well, I don't know how to write riffs, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for bringing up Apex. Apex has riffs that you can go through if you wanted to. So I just double-clicked up here. We'll go into Contact. And you remember how we went into the main here? And then we went, boop, and we chose that amp. Well, that amp also brings over some riffs, which are these over here. These different things here. Now you see how it kind of like flickers? That means it's changing inside of the designer, because the designer is what holds the riff. So if I go here to main, intro accents, that's this riff. We're like, well, how do you play these riffs? Well, it's going to tell you here, F6, G6, A6, B6, C7. There are also going to be these pink notes here. So if I click these pink notes, so let's say that we want that one. Well, I'm going to move this over, and I'm going to move this over. And let's say that we want to play this scene, because you can take the MIDI from it too, but for now I'll show you the scene thing. So I'm going to make a new MIDI lane, not a new MIDI clip, I'm sorry, by highlighting Control-Shift-M. And this one, you can see up here, has the different scenes. So F6, which I believe is this one here, and it's going to tell you, if we look down here at the very bottom, this corner here, when I highlight scene 1, it's going to tell you down here F6, right? See that? So I click that, and this has to be the whole length. So I'm just going to legato this by choosing that legato thing here. So now let's say it's like, oh, we want to put that on our bass now. Well, at this point, we have to grab the MIDI. So I'm going to double click on there, open up Apex. We're going to go into the designer tab, and I'm going to choose here, get MIDI. I'm going to click and drag. This doesn't always work. Sometimes it takes a second. Let's see. Get MIDI. There we go. See that? And so now this MIDI is in there. And so if we hit play, should be... You hear the bending isn't the same? What I found out is that you need to come in here, go to settings, and turn your bend range up a little bit. So now, if we wanted to, we could just click here. You see all this stuff? Look at all this. Look at all these freaking, like... And this, you know, you can get here too. It looks scary right now, but you'll be doing this soon too. So don't worry. Brandon, what up, my guy? What's up, my dude? So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to select all of these key switches. We don't need those because we're going to put on our bass. So I'm going to grab this, just the notes up here. Control C. We're going to make a new MIDI selection here. Control Shift M. Click in the beginning, remember, because this little guy needs to be at the beginning. Boom. Now, if we want to hear it to make sure it's right, we have to turn on our MIDI preview. Remember this thing up here? Make sure it's on. So now, hear how it's not playing those? Now, depending on the bass, some of your basses will go down to this D0. But what I like to do is I like to bring this D0 up. You hear how I brought the velocity with it too? I need this. I want this to be a little bit more solid. I feel like with metal and bass, it needs to be consistent. So you can see how they have like some high notes and low notes velocity wise. Well, if you click and drag these all the way up, it's going to make it the same. Okay, let's listen. So these three down, these here, these need to be like a palm mute sort of sound. And like I said, with Nolly, it doesn't have many key switches, but it does have like a little mute. And the mute is going to be a little bit lower. Hear it? There it is. Awesome, dude. Now this riff is fast. Where faster than where they recommend it. If we go over here and we go back to main, this is saying 105 BPM. We're on 120. Let's go up here in the corner, right? Which I know you can't see, but I'm sure you remember. Right behind, I'm going to go 105, enter. And so now let's listen. Yeah. Okay, you hear those low notes? I want these. I want those to go an octave higher. So I'm going to go shift, up arrow. Also, I want these to be that palm mute too. So I'm going to go down. Did you hear it? There it is. There it is. Got to do it there. Yeah, for sure, bleed. All right, I also need to make these. You see how these sound different? These ones? I'm going to fix that. So I'm going to grab them, bring them all the way up so they're the same length. I mean, the same velocity. And then I'm going to bring them back down. Sweet. So that's how you add stuff through Apex. And I wanted to show you that one second because I wanted to show you how to kind of like do your own riff, right? You can use these Apex riffs to learn how to do stuff like this. And again, it looks crazy, but if you didn't have this stuff here, then this is your riff, right? This is your riff here. But with these, the articulations, let me actually do that muted. I'm going to show you that muted really quick. So if we add those articulations back, yeah, so the bends. This is more of like a little bit of an intermediate thing, but I'll show it to you just so you know where it's at if you want to experiment it, depending on your level, right? Your skill level. So there's bends that come with this riff. Here. If we go to Designer and we look at this riff, this is the riff here. But inside of our pitch, you can see that there's some pitching down going on here. See that? Well, this comes with it. And inside of Ableton, if we click here and we go to envelope, and then we come down here it comes, boop, to MIDI control, pitch bend, you can see, here it is. Here's all the pitch bending. So if we take a look, let's see if we can get this to work. And so pitch bending is the same as if you're bending a string on a guitar, you know? So for example, we can do like right here, we can just click here and do something like this, right? Or something that I like to do is maybe something like this, right? Bow. There's ours. Bow, bow. right? Pretty sweet. Can't you only pitch up on guitar? It depends where you have your note, right? Because if you're already pre-bending and then you pitch down, you can do that. Bleed, I know. This is actually bending down, bow. I like this. I want to do this on my bass too. So what I'm gonna do, I think I can take the pitch, the bending from here and put this on my bass. Let's see. If I come here, go to envelopes, down here, MIDI control. Doesn't even look like it has it. So now it's listen. I'm gonna, okay, so yours is gonna be set up differently. If you click here, it's gonna go to this one here. So if you just click, you're gonna solo that, you're gonna solo that. Soloing is basically you're only hearing that. Boop. See that? This is soloing. If I click it again, it brings it back. This is muting. So I'm turning off the sound of this. So solo, right? And then mute. So let's solo this bass and we'll take a listen. So the bend range on this one isn't as drastic. And let's see if in Nolly we can change the bend range. I don't think you can. Settings. Velocity curve. Pitch fine. So it doesn't look like you can here. Which is fine. We just have to make these pitches a little bit more drastic, but I'm not too worried about it. I mainly want to mess with this one. Yeah, does that pick has bass guitars? They don't, but they have talked about it. Now I don't know if it's going to happen, but they have talked about it. Let's take a listen. I'm going to unsolo this guy. Remember, unsolo. Boop. How is your record button always on? So this is a setting that I have turned on. Anything that's MIDI. See how I'm clicking on these things? I have a setting that's like if it's a MIDI instrument and I click here, then it'll just, it has a little bit of a different record thing. You see how it's like that little line sort of thing? So just so you know. Let's turn off the click. Want to add a synth? Let's add a synth. Adding a synth is the same way that you add like a contact instrument or something like that. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to clear this search. And we're going to make sure that we're in all again. See how we're in all? I'm just going to come up to this search, which again is behind here. This is the search window here. And I'm going to type in Vital. I'm going to use Vital. Vital is a free synth. So I'm just going to click and drag it into an empty space. You see how it adds this line? Well, it creates this here. Boop. Yeah, Torek, thank you so much for being here, dude. Have a good night. Sleep well. How to make guitar sound thicker? I think this would be useful. That is more mixing. It's more like intermediate. I just want people to get in and put stuff in there. We'll worry about mixing and stuff later. Okay, so this is Vital. And again, if we double click, it's going to show Vital down here. Remember? So if I click on the wrench, now we have a synth. So if yours is set up like mine and you have that record button, if we press a button, now we have a synth. Now it's really loud, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, turn it down. And you can see I have a MIDI keyboard. Do I know how to play it? No. but I do random chords, and sometimes it sounds cool. Ooh. Anyways, we want a nice sound. So Vital comes with some sounds in here. So if you click the top here, and then you know, you can choose any sort of presets there. Now you can see that you see it says CB Faith. These are presets that I have made, and if you're interested in this preset pack, this is going to be on my Patreon store, and that's the link's going to be that in the description. If you're a part of the Patreon, you get some of these for free, but if you want the whole thing, it's on the store. And again, I intentionally put this, I made these in Vital because Vital is free. The preset pack is the only thing you have to pay for, so it's not like buy the synth pack, buy the preset pack, right? Synth's free, presets if you want them. If you don't want them, don't have to get them. But let's say, for example, I don't know, let's see what some strings will do. And I'm just going to hit, I think we're in, I don't even know what we're in, actually. I think we're in D sharp. Let's see. Yeah. We're in D sharp. So if I just hit this note and play, okay, so I already know I want it to be like da, 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 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. So since I played those notes, if you have a MIDI keyboard, what's going to happen is this little square is going to turn, it's going to light up. Well, it's not going to light up, but it's not going to be gray. If I click it, well, it was listening to everything that I was doing. And it did the thing. Now, is it in time? No. But, you know, we could fix that. It's close, though. You see how it's right there at the bar, almost at this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this over to this. Bring this over here. Okay. I'm going to select all. So we're going to learn quantizing. Quantizing means that it lines it up to the grid. You see how these aren't completely on the grid here? Doesn't always have to be on the grid. And some people prefer not on the grid and a little humanized, right? So we're going to do Control U. That's going to quantize. See how it lines it up perfectly? So now, if we solo this, remember solo is just so we can hear this. This is a nice little synth layer. Now I want to bring the attack up on this, and we won't worry about this right now, but I just want it to start faster. So if we bring the attack down, it's going to start sooner. We go here. So I'm going to bring this down. So now let's unsolo and take a listen. Maybe we can do like instead of this one here. And maybe this one. Now, if you're like, how do you even know? Well, Ableton has a scale feature. Come over here. We're in D sharp. Technically, we're like in Phrygian, kind of. So we're going to go Phrygian dominant. And now, if I hit scale, and then I highlight the scale, these are all the notes. There's no wrong notes. Egyptian. So now you can experiment. Just have fun. How's this one sound? Ooh. Maybe we go. So we built our first riff, man. Now, if you want to add a little bit of mixing to this, this can get dangerous, but you can come up here to the search, and I want you to type multi-band compression. This is my little secret sauce right here. That can get a little too carried away. So I'm going to click and drag it onto my main. So this is, I'm clicking on my main channel here. This guy. And I'm dropping that at the very end. So it's basically saying all of this stuff is going to be here. Boop. It's going to go through this channel here. So now I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to turn it on in between. I'm also going to turn the amount down a little bit. Okay, let's take a listen. Go off and then on. Now let's start to listen to balance, right? Is everything balanced in? I feel like guitars are a little loud, maybe. Now that I say that, listen again. Let's see. This was a lot. I know this was a lot. But I wanted this to be maybe one of the first videos that you can go to if you wanted to learn how to do this. This is just the beginning, right? There's so much more that you can learn, but I think the biggest thing that I don't want you to do is get overwhelmed with how much there is that you can do. And so what I would say is watch this video a few times and try to make a riff, and maybe even try to grab some stuff from Apex and try to understand that stuff. But what I would say is challenge yourself to write some drums and then take the kicks and put in the bass and all that stuff, because it's only going to teach you and make you better. Now, another thing that I need you to know is that it may suck, but that's okay. You're just starting, right? If you've seen any sort of artist and they just started drawing, their drawing sucked. You know, maybe they're pretty good, but A lot of times, probably sucks. But you have to push through the suck. You need to be okay with knowing that you're learning and it's not going to sound the best. The last thing that I want you to do is to stop because your first two riffs suck. I want you to be a kid in a playground and just have fun, explore. Know that it's going to suck, so when it does, you're not surprised and you're like, okay, cool. Well, it's not the best, but it's okay. You know, try again tomorrow. You know, make this a routine that you do. If you want to get good at it, if you want to get good at anything, you have to spend time doing the thing. The more that you put into it is the more that you're going to get out of it. And that's with anything in life, dude. And so if you're just starting, you got to push through the suck like we all did. Because I sucked too, dude. But I've been doing this for over 20 years. And I'm just finally starting to get some things that I like, right? And so I hope that this helped you, dude. Because I don't want you to feel like, oh, I have to, know how to play guitar and play all these things to be able to do this. Well, no. Maybe you're an EDM artist and you want to add some guitars to your tracks or drums or whatever, because I've been dealing with that a lot lately on my one-on-ones. Well, you can. And don't be afraid to use MIDI guitar, man, because it's not cheating. It's not cheating in something that's not a sport. Music is not a sport, dude. You can't cheat. We don't get mad at artists for using rulers to draw a straight line. And so this is being creative. Even if you don't show this to anyone and you're doing it for fun and you just want to be able to be like, I made this, I'm jamming it in my fucking car. This is how you do it, man. This is how I do all of my songs. All the songs that you've heard from me, I do it in MIDI because it's fun and you can explore, right? You can get crazy. The sky is the limit, man. It's so much fun. Gem of a stream, Chris A. Ma, thank you so much, bro, for being here. Yeah, Henrik, you have to, man. I think the biggest thing is how hard we are on ourselves. If it's not the best thing in the world, right? It's fine, man. It's the journey, not the destination, right? If you make the best song in the world and you're like, all right, I did it, then you're done. Like, come on, dude, you're not done. There's another one, right? That's why I do like my speed runs, because half the time I'm overthinking. If I'm not doing a speed run, I'm overthinking what I'm doing, and it's like, no. And so with that being said, I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Saturdays are mainly speed runs. Like I do a speed run and then we do community jams. So if you're just getting started and maybe you have some cool riffs and maybe you need some feedback, like, yo, this is my first freaking riff, dude. We have a Discord community. Shout out Ruben, thank you for showing that. And for the YouTube homies, that's going to be in the description. If you go there, join the Discord, you're going to see a community jams tag. Chuck your freaking jam in there, dude. We would love to help you out. Now, don't be afraid if it like sucks or if you think it sucks, right? Because it's not about that right now. It's about you getting better. And so if you're just starting out and you chuck it in there and it's not like the best thing ever, that's okay. We're going to help you, right? Let us know, hey, I'm a beginner. How can I improve? And you have a ton of people that are probably better than I am at doing this stuff, that are willing to help. This community is all about helping and being supportive. And honestly, at this point, we're a big family now. We all say we love each other and we all give each other a hard time, because it gets to that point when you guys are homies and you can give each other a hard time, it's going to be a good relationship. And so we would love to have you. But dudes, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, do all those things. Because again, I'm not going to stop. If you don't stop, I'm not going to stop. If I don't stop, you're not stopping either, okay? You're in it now. You're with us. You're with us. Come here. And so, you'll see these are a lot of the regulars. And I'm so grateful for them because they have pushed me to get better. And, you know, I think it goes both ways, right? And we would love for you to be a part of that party. But if you have questions, make sure you put them in the comment section because I want to know where you're at. Because maybe Thursday stream I can go into a little bit more detail on like the next steps sort of thing, right? Because, you know, you wrote your riffs. It's like, okay, where do I go next? Well, then we could start talking about structure, and then we could start talking about synths and all that, right? And then later down the road, we can start talking about mixing and, you know, and it's just, and it's a lot of things to know, but let's just go one step at a time, you know, one step at a time. But YouTube homies, thank you so much. I appreciate you a ton. I'll be back on Thursday. And so come by. Again, make sure if you leave me a comment, I'll try to cover that on Thursday because I really wanted this week to be for the beginner homies. And so we'll catch you on Thursday. Same time. Be there. Same channel. Like, subscribe. Check out the Patreon. Check out presets. All the things. Appreciate you a ton, man.